G'day everyone, and welcome to part 10 of my HZ 1-tonner build series. In this episode, hopefully we will be fixing up some doors and finalising them for paint. So, as you can see, that's a pretty clean door right there. I did not do it myself, even though you just saw that clip of me trying to sandblast. That was a failed attempt. Those little bottle blasters can be good in some situations, but for my needs, it was just taking too long, and to be honest, it was a pain in the ass. It was making mess everywhere. I was getting sand in places that sand shouldn't be. Let's just put it that way. So I ended up sending the doors to a professional sandblaster. I also sent the guards as well. I'll give you a little look around right now. So here's one of the doors, the one that I was working on in the last episode. It actually came out really good. The inside of it, he didn't really go too far in there, but all the loose scale and rust is off. So what I can do now is just go in there with a bit of well, there's still some of this bitumen material that was inside the doors originally. I'll just go in there with a wire wheel just to get all that off. And then with any exposed areas, what I'm going to do is get some Rain-X, some rust converter, and just soak it. You're supposed to soak it for about 10 to 20 minutes or so, and then neutralize it with some water afterwards so that it is fully rust free. Then after that, I can give the inside a bit of paint and get started on patching it up fully now. So you can see my previous repairs came out not too bad, and yeah, thankfully the door didn't turn to Swiss cheese, so that filler wasn't everywhere, which is great. Just right there's a bit of Swiss cheese action going on the top of the door, but that's fine. I'll plug those up. So that's one door there. Here's the other door. I didn't film me chopping this one up because I had to get it done quickly, so I just went to town like the hack man that I am. So yeah, freed up the inside so that he could blast in there, get rid of most of the rust. You can see same area as the last door, that's got to be repaired. That's fine. Along here, and then in this corner. So yeah, same thing as last time, but I think I'm going to tackle this one a bit differently because that last repair that I did was a pain in the ass. So yeah, same top of the door, a few little holes here and there. The frame came out good, frame's all intact, which is great. And then the skin is actually pretty good too. A few little holes, so some there, one there, and then one on that side. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to replace the whole skin or just patch up those holes yet, but we'll get to it when the time comes. Then I've got my guards over here. So we knew the bottom of the guards were stuffed. They were full of filler from the last bloke who had it, and the bottoms ended up just falling off, which is to be expected. Interesting, these are stamped guards because you can see they're not weld-ins, so these are probably original GTS guards, which is pretty interesting because obviously the ute itself wasn't a GTS from the factory, so I think these aren't the original guards to what the car was. But yeah, as expected, a little bit of Swiss cheese action going on around the wheel arch here, and besides that, for this guard, I think it turned out a bit of Swiss cheese action going on there, but other than that, like the outside of it is actually not too bad. So look, it all looks pretty doable, pretty repairable. I say that now. Hopefully I'm not too far in over my head. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that they came back, so we'll get into it now and see how we go. Alrighty guys, so I've gotten quite a bit done. The only part that you would have seen me doing is welding this panel in. That's because I've been doing this stuff late at night and it's just been like, it's just been crazy. I just really want to get this stuff done. I feel like I've been working on this door for about 10 weeks now. So yeah, I'm really in the get it done mood. So what I've done so far is I've cleaned up the inside of the door. It had some of that like bitumen sound deadening left over in the center that the sand blaster didn't get to. So I cleaned that up with my angle grinder, and then I painted it all in KBS rust seal. I chose that because I used it on my chassis and it's like this rubbery type paint that seems pretty good, so that should do for the insides. You're never going to see it. I just want to make sure that it doesn't rust again. And then what I'm going to do for the inside of the frames is I'm going to get up in there with some wax, like some Seco wax, and just spray the hell out of it so that it doesn't rust. Now this panel here, it's all welded up. Pretty nice, I feel like. I ended up doing a pretty good job. We'll see after I clean up these welds how many pinholes I got. But what I had to do here, you can sort of tell, surely there's a weld along there. The panel only came up to here, so I had to make this piece custom. I just got some of that 1.5mm gauge sheet, bent it up, and I cut 3 slots in there just to get that bit of roundness in that panel. Now I used some body sealer along this edge here. I don't know if that's exactly what they did from factory, but from what I could tell when I was taking it apart, there was some sort of sealant throughout here, so I just wanted to try to replicate that. It didn't really react too well with my plug welds, but we got there in the end. I figured out a pretty good way of cleaning it out and getting the plug welds done. They just need to be ground down. All the holes I pre-drilled by overlaying the old panel and measuring where they were, so hopefully when I go to put the rubbers on and everything, it all lines up. This hole here, I don't know why that hole's there. I might have drilled that out by mistake, but I'll just plug that in. So yeah, now moving on to getting this bottom piece on. I've got pretty much everything prepped and ready. I just gave that a quick little dip in the paint. So when that dries up, we will fit that and weld that in. Now, because I'm not very good at planning ahead, I didn't take good measurements before I chopped the doors apart. Of course, classic me. But good thing I have my old HZ doors that I can measure off of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure side to side, top, middle, bottom, and then up and down, top, middle, bottom, and try and get everything to sit right. So yeah, once I tack this bottom piece in, before I do the skin, I think I want to test fit the door on the body just to make sure that it all looks right, because if it's not, I still have a chance of fixing it. Whereas if I completely weld that bottom piece in, well, I'm basically going to be starting again if it's crooked. So yeah, fun times ahead. We'll see how good of a impromptu panel beater I am. I don't think I'm that great, but hopefully it turns out all good. Rightio, so I'm just setting up this bottom inner frame piece here. Found out a few things. One, I can't really cut a straight line. That's a nice little gap there, but that's fine. So I've measured off my old door the distances top and bottom, and it all seems to be matching up where I've got it now. So I'm happy with where it is. Few issues. This flange here, the way that, I don't know, it comes out the press, doesn't really line up correctly. This definitely has to be pretty much in line with here, so I think I know why. And that's because you can see this face here is pretty flat. There's a tiny bit of a bend there, but there should be a really noticeable bend. And it's not, like, there's not a prominent bend in there. That's pretty flat. So what needs to happen is that this needs to get bent in, and this whole flange will then get bent in. And then I also think this is too long for whatever reason. So yeah, advice to anyone who's going to try this is, I guess, try not to. These rare spares panels, like this one especially, is shit, just to be honest. Like, for what you're paying for, 120 bucks or however much they cost, you think they'd be more spot on, but you got to do a lot of things to get it right. So that's all right. I guess what I have to do now is, I think I'm going to chop this corner off here because that's not sitting right. That's got to come more down, more in. And then what I have to do is somehow bend this down a bit, but also maybe raise it in the middle here. I don't know. Like, you can't really do that. I think that's pretty set where it is. So, moral of the story, reproduction parts aren't always good fits. Some of them are pretty good, but this one I don't think is one of them. I don't know if the die is just gone bad in the press or what's happened, but yeah. Gonna have to do quite a bit of chopping and changing, I think. But yeah, we'll see what works. Sorry guys, got a bit ahead of myself, but this is where the door is at right now. So I fully welded in that back piece as you just saw, and I've just fit up this front skin that I made. I've tacked it in for now. I did do a test fit with me just holding it up, as you can see on the picture on the screen right now. I folded over the edge completely with a hammer and dolly, And yeah, now we're ready to weld this in fully. I was pretty happy with the fit, surprisingly. Only thing is, I think this corner here might be a bit low. So I don't know of a way that I can somehow raise that, but I think I'm gonna have to figure that out in the future. In saying that, I did only do a hold fit. So once the hinges are in, you'll be able to tell for sure. So right now with this door skin here, see I've got it tacked up. It's a bit low along the line here, and I think that's just from the bottom skin being off for so long and it leaning against the top skin here. So it's sort of rolled the skin over. So what I'm going to do is, as I go and weld this in completely, is I'm going to go through the backside with like a hammer or something and try and push this up as much as I can to try and reduce the amount of filler I'm going to have to use later. The other thing that I got was these cool little sorry for that. The other thing I got were these cool little panel clips that really helped with setting up the skin. So yeah, if you have access to the backside, they're really good for welding up skins and stuff like that. So yeah, that was nice. So yeah, now I'm just gonna fully weld this in, grind down the welds, and yeah, door's nearly done. It's taking ages. Alrighty guys, so I've done a bit of rearranging. No more cab in the way for now. It's on the chassis. So yeah, thought I'd just move it out the way because I was getting a bit claustrophobic down here. And basically that door's pretty much finished. It is going to need a little bit of filler work. Quite a lot of filler work. Let's not talk about it. But yeah, pretty happy with it. If I had to do it again, that bottom skin piece that I put in, I would have spent more time welding that in so it didn't create such a divot. Gonna have about 2 to 5 mil of filler in places, but what can you do when you're not a trained tradesperson? So yeah, that door's done for now until we go to epoxy stage. Now we're going to work on this door. So what is going on here? So I thought the frame was pretty clean, but as you can see, little bit of pitting there, little bit of pitting in there. Now, seeing that I don't really want to get into cutting into the frame again, I'm probably just going to spot weld that and just ignore that. So yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. It's definitely not as bad as that one was. This is coming out after being sandblasted, so just goes to show whatever's left is pretty good metal. So yeah, just going to spot weld those areas there. That might get a skim of filler, or I will just probably end up painting it and seeing what it looks like. But the underside of it, no holes, as you can see there. So that's fine. Door skin, way better than the other one. So only holes I have, I believe, are at the bottom here. So this one and this one in this corner. So there I might do a whole piece, or maybe just the sections where the holes are. I'm not sure. The way that I cut this when I sent it out for sandblasting is that I just ran my grinder with the flapper disc across the bottom edge to get rid of that fold over part of the skin. So when I do go, like if I do leave it as is and then go to put it back on, I'm probably going to have to take off like 10 mil and create a little fold over edge that I can work with. Otherwise, yeah, actually I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. I'll figure that out when the time comes, because I don't really want to have to do what I did with the other door and create a big divot in the skin. I mean, that's what happens when you weld thin sheet metal over a long distance. So yeah, now as expected, this corner here is pretty messed up. It was the same with the other door, but I'm not going to do the same thing I did, so you sort of live and learn. I will be unfolding the skin in this area, but I won't be cutting this out. I will just be doing patches, because that section that I made on this door, while it looks okay, it's not really, you can tell it's a bit amateurish. It's not got the nice curve in it. And I think my trouble before was keeping where this edge sort of curls. So if I keep it as is, it should be pretty much in the spot that I need it to be when I go to fit the door. Now this area here is fine, so what I plan to do is cut out up all along here. You can see the holes stop about here where my finger is, so don't know why the camera's not focusing, but yeah, right where my finger is there. So I'm going to cut roughly here, obviously cut off that piece of the inner, and then do a, not a very accurate piece, but a piece nonetheless, to weld into there. And then I'm going to fix all this edge here. And then, yeah, same with the last one here, little patch there. And then there's a few holes in the frame right there. 1 or 2 holes there, so that's fine. I think this door should be quite a bit less work, considering I'm not going to be cutting up the frame and making little custom pieces. You can see I need to cut that anyway, because that's rotted there. So yeah, for anyone who is going to sandblast doors, well, send it for sandblasting, just a bit of advice. This stuff in the doors here from factory, this deadening material, bitumen, whatever it is, yeah, sandblasters don't like it. So if you do want the metal underneath to be blasted, you should probably remove this. Now, in saying that, the metal underneath it probably isn't too badly rusted anyway. So what I will be doing with the last one, I'll be doing the same as I did with the last one, and just attacking it with a grinder, getting it all out, and then yeah, treating the inside of the doors and painting it with the KBS chassis coater, the other half of the can that I have. So yeah, should be a not, let me be careful with my words, should not be a terrible process. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but yeah, we'll see.
So I figured I'd try something new here by adding some commentary over some clips that I recorded. So you can see I painted the inside of the door with the rust seal. Then I've tacked on this right side here, make sure it's lining up nice and straight. Same with the bottom edge there. You can see I've just tacked it in, making sure everything's looking nice and smooth. Here with the leading edge, I had a bit of trouble getting the fitment right between the existing panel and the rare spares panel. So I've done this trick here where I've got a nail that I bent up that I welded to the existing door inner panel, and I just use a screwdriver to pry it up to make sure it all lines up nice, and then you can just tack it in while you're prying it up. So you can see there, I've welded in the bottom and leading edge, just got it all tacked up. Then I have to fill in those gaps there, so I made a custom panel up top. And that corner I had to cut and shut because it doesn't line up right with the existing dimensions of the door. There I fully welded up all the front panel and ground down all my welds and got it in some spray can paint just for now to protect it. And there you can see a finished product.
Alrighty guys, so I got the door on just with the old hinges, and I think it actually turned out pretty good. So this one looks a bit better than the other one in my opinion, just because I didn't have to go as high up with that cut on the bottom skin there. So it looks pretty smooth and it should turn out pretty nice once I get it in epoxy. Same thing with the bottom inner and the leading edge there, all looks pretty nice. You can't really see it because I painted it in black, but trust me, it'll be covered by a door card anyway, so I'm not too worried about how that turned out. So yeah, fits up pretty good. All the gaps look quite even. So once I do get the guards done, I will put both doors to get painted in epoxy with the guards. Also the door hinges over here, I'm going to paint those in epoxy because I've already got them taken apart, so I'll get them painted and then rebush them. That'll be it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you next time.